Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We just had our first church Zoom gathering online. For a half hour, we just kind of caught up with each other, those of us in the church who were able to get online and visually see each other and talk to one another. It was wonderful. Just checking up on each other and sharing some prayer concerns and having some prayer. It was good to see those, I haven't seen for a few weeks now. And even a member of the church who is out of state joined us, which is kind of cool. And another church member who is going to be leaving to move to Iowa later this week was able to get online, and we were able to talk with her and share our love and our goodbyes to her. No, this whole Zoom church thing doesn't replace the physical gathering together of God's children. But I tell you what, it helps in times like these. And I think one thing it does is it reminds us of how much we miss each other, and that's a good thing. Absolutely. The smiles and the joys that people had, sense of joy that people had, and just seeing each other and talking to each other on their computer screens was a wonder to behold. That was my favorite part. I liken it to the way people gaze upon like a newborn baby that they see for the first time. There's just sheer joy in looking upon another human being, and that's what I was seeing as we were looking at each other today. It's not like, any of us facially have changed during this pandemic time. But we have changed. And at least for a while, we are looking upon each other a bit differently. And we're appreciating the opportunity to be able to see one another in a good and cherished way. And that's a beautiful thing. And it's just realizing that the one thing that binds us brings us great joy, and that's God. Yeah. So it got me thinking, all of this lighting up when we see each other, that when you do love someone, the mere sight of them at some level should cause your eyes to just light up, right? In the book of Exodus, God was talking to Moses, and it was the whole burning bush scene and moment in the book of Exodus. And God is saying to Moses, your brother Aaron is on the way, okay? Any moment he's coming. And when he sees you, Moses, his heart will be made glad. It's a beautiful phrase. When you see someone, the idea of your heart being made glad. Not a glad to see you, pal, but rather a deep heartburn. Not the kind of heartburn that comes from a hot pastrami on rye, but a passionate burn in your heart upon seeing that person. Because when we look upon each other, we truly do look upon a person for whom Christ has died. You see a person who you share something very intimate with. A belief that somehow, through the resurrection of Jesus Christ, we will always be connected and be a part of each other. We will always be family. At some level, you are looking at a person whose heart beats in rhythm with yours. Both of you are experiencing this synchronicity, if you will, with something that is way bigger than any of us, but we're sharing it together, and that is the love of God. And that should fill us with joy and delight when we see each other. I mean, Moses and Aaron were brothers, right? And they would have seen each other like every day, pretty much. They knew each other well. But here's Moses at the burning bush, and he's arguing with God because God wants him to go to Pharaoh, the most powerful man in the world, and tell Pharaoh, Pharaoh, I want you to release your labor force. God wants his children, the Hebrew slaves, to be set free. And of course, Moses is like, this is the death sentence. I don't think I want to go. So he has a lot of excuses towards God for not going. I just saying, I don't even know who you are. Who should I say to Pharaoh is sending me? Right? An excuse upon an excuse gets to the point where he says, God, you know what? I can't do this. I can't even talk well. Send someone else. And it's then that God says to Moses, tell you what, I'll give you the words, Moses. You share them with your brother Aaron, okay? And he'll speak for the both of you, and I'll be with both of you. And it's then at that point that God says to Moses, look, your brother's coming around the bend there, okay? When he sees you, his heart will be made glad. It's the Hebrew word made glad, somach, which means to brighten up, to be filled with glee. Your heart will just brighten up. Your brother's heart, Moses, is just going to brighten up and be filled with glee when he looks at you, when he sees you. And that's kind of what I saw with the church members this morning on the computer screen. There was this childlike glee that people had when they saw each other. And it's not like that you even had to say anything when your face popped up on the screen. It was just like, there they are. And I'm happy. I'm filled with joy that I get to see them. That's a beautiful thing. And that was by far my most favorite part of the gathering this morning. To see church members just really loving upon each other. Hearts lighting up at the sight of one another. Dear friends, we may feel at times right now like Moses, that we're not up to going to the pharaohs of this world, that we're not up to dealing with this pandemic much longer, that the stress is taking its toll. But as God reminded Moses, so God reminds us, I'm with you. I'm going with you. Whatever pharaoh or pandemic you have to face, I'm not only with you, I'm giving you the errands of this world. I'm giving you brothers and sisters. I'm giving you this community called the church. So you're not going to be alone. I'm with you. Family's with you. Brothers and sisters are with you. You can do this. My hope and prayer is that as with this morning's gathering, our hearts will continue to light up as we look upon each other. And I pray that we can hold on to that salmach sense of gleefulness and gratitude for each other. A joy and a spirit that arises from the common awareness that we are God's children on a journey of life and faith, and more now than ever we need each other. May God continue to make our hearts light up, not only for each other, but for all with whom we may meet this day. I'm going to end on this. A rabbi once asked his students, "How do you recognize when the night ends and the day begins?" And one of the students said, "Well, when you can tell from a distance the difference between a dog and a sheep." And another student said, "Or does night become day when you can recognize from a distance the difference between a palm tree and a fig tree?" And the rabbi said, "No. When you can look in the face of a human being and see a brother or sister, then the day begins. Until then, night is with us." May your love not only brighten the hearts of others, but also bring the light of day into a world so in need. God bless you. Peace be with you. Love you so much. You make my heart glad.